If the city is Troy, and the horse is the Trojan horse, what is the point in beating it? You're beating a dead horse. It's like if you were fighting the spirit of a hologram, which is just projected over and over and over again, mentally, even under God. How can you win if it can just be recreated by just popping it up, the circles of existence? With people being able to, it's just projecting energy into dead bodies or something, right? Because when they're talking to you, you can hear their voice, and when they can't get their own way, certain people that Chris talks to on the phone, certain people that when I push to answer the phone, and it's not my mother and hang up, the voice tries to connect itself to some point on or over my head somewhere. Perhaps there's some sort of an electrical current, or somebody has something here in our home, or it's possible that sends waves of some sort over our head so that that particular person can project themselves or connect themselves to the voice over our head just to make sure that they maintain our connection, something that we just won't give them. But in any case, what's the point of beating the Trojan horse? There's no point in beating a dead horse. Not that we would beat them, but in our early minds. Mind over matter. Find the spot that hurts and imagine it burning with the invisible flame of God until it's gone. But just go ahead and be a bunch of publicans and walk off with all God's light and let Him rejoice in you, and let Him see how your rejoicing in Him keeps Him in heaven and keeps heaven in existence. Because after a while, when God's been with the publicans, and I know I'm not speaking to this strength or power of voice. Maybe it's poor Jesus after all of these years. My father sometimes did it to people too. My sister used to complain out loud. I didn't. Back then I was, I guess, very well held. Probably I had my little life. I was coughing up, stuff sometimes, dreaming that I was in, the military place here where they have the new museum, where everything smells like gas. Dreaming I was somewhere where there was a lot of gas, and I would, start coughing. There was nothing wrong where I was. But my father used to do that. He used to encourage in front of us people who, had things that just hadn't been acceptable as per what he had taught us to be like. And, in the end, he ended up dead. So the Bible, in the few passages, Matthew and Luke, I guess, do it every once in a while, which tell us that that's what God told us to do. I don't know. But, maybe if God has to go and just have the publicans and give all of the light, but not mine. I'm keeping my light for God myself. But while God is endorsing the publicans, and giving my daughter to the Sabaeans, just let him go and be with the publicans for a while and see if he doesn't fall back down. Because a few years ago, we were all forcing the light back up to God to get God to regain his spirit and divide himself from the Nazi that maybe had penetrated into the heavens. In any case, the picture. I married Chris in 1998. I was 100 and probably 23 pounds, not very big. Slimmest I had been. My mother had moved in with me. We had been doing the Susan Powder diet, is it? Oh my goodness, we walked hours at a time. We had everything all done up so beautifully. And Chris's father brought him over to meet me. And he sat there and, whatever I was used to over my head, and too good for me, but good enough to be at my head. And, sometimes you allow what's comfortable and makes you feel nice yourself, let's be honest. Plus, I was single and by myself completely with my mother, so I had it all. And I waited and I went upstairs, and maybe it's one of these things that's the inevitable, it's coming. I still don't know who's at fault here. I just know that actions sometimes have to be evaluated for what actions are, regardless of the once you get to the point where the instigator is pulling out on his own and breaking the legal boundaries and the legal rules, and taking the only thing that was there to be protected, which is a child, into a situation which is impossible to believe that she will be protected because of the way that I feel. And I am a strong adult woman who had a strong adult non-mental life before becoming involved in this situation, in this marriage under God. But in any case, when I married Chris, I was that tiny. When I dated Chris, I was that tiny. A few ice creams here, a few ice creams there, a pizza. It shouldn't have mattered. I was still exercising. I had a walking machine. We walked a lot. But this is what came over me to be married to Chris. Now, let's look long and hard at the extra leg bones. I had a bump that formed on my arm. Like it's almost as if there was a wart under my skin, right? I went to get it because back then to get it checked, the doctor said there's no point. You know what? If it goes away, it meant whatever it is gone. It went away. Emma was 3 or 4 years old. Came back. I guess they started one of their loops. Restarted it. It's gone again, but there's a scar. We were moving here. I believe this may have been when we were moving to Phoenix, not when we were moving to Ottawa, not Carleton Place. When we came to Ottawa, they bombed the World Trade Center and sat a white cube truck out in front of our apartment down on Byron Street, and headed to me that it was full of explosives also. Within a short time, I guess to preserve the city, we were moved out to where they wanted us, which was next door to the non-existent 69. And anyhow, so this is what, let me just get the picture out. This is what is at me, because that doesn't look like me at all. Look at the knees. Look at the legs. Now, I had just had a baby and didn't understand. Look at the backside. I mean, that was solid, heavy weight. It's like I rolled over one morning and this is what got out of bed. It wasn't from food. I couldn't eat that much food. I just don't have the appetite. All I ate when I was with Chris, because of this thing that was on me, was broccoli. I mean, a broccoli tray, a carrot tray. Sick, sick, sick. And there he is, looking at his wart through my eyes, making sure that he has a hold of me there, you know. And loves you, Chris. He loves you, man. He loves the way you do everything. And prior to the wedding, prior to meeting Chris, this is me in my house that I had bought for, what was it, $38,000. Before my mom moved up, and these are the bunk beds that were in the house when I bought it. And I just split them up and took all the stickers off of them and made them into nice little beds in the basement bedroom. This is me just dressing up and having some fun. My mom hanging out with me and taking pictures. It's me when I was teaching, one of my school pictures. Another school picture. I mean, they look a little bit funny. I don't look quite like what I think I look like. I'm fairly, sometimes if I catch myself in the mirror, very, very fair-skinned, hardly any chin at all, a tiny little heart chin, tiny little pug of a nose. But I certainly did not go from here, and it's probably in the space of a year, to, well, this is what I was in April, and granted well, this is what I was before having Emma, so this is from between April, and this is, I guess, our honeymoon, just after our honeymoon. So this is, it's actually before our honeymoon. We went on a little trip together to Ottawa to see Judy before we were married. So I guess this is April. And his mom came up in May, I guess, and bought the wedding dress material and started making the wedding dress and just kept letting it out and letting it out. I wasn't eating anything. You wouldn't think but I was pregnant, but I wasn't pregnant, was I? No, not me. I'm not going to have a baby out of wedlock. I know all the rules, and I know all the rules for protection and whatnot, and oh, they don't like those. I just as soon keep using them during our marriage, because I don't really know where you are or what you're doing, because every second word out of you is you denying something that I just lived through with you, or one of the multiples denying it. But this is, I guess, shortly after. It's before I had Emma. So I had Emma in 2000, and we were married in 98. So say it's in 99. So this is how big I've gotten already. I'm still exercising and eating not as much junk food that it would take to become a whole different person. I mean, look at the smile. I don't own that. Okay, that's a whole different person jammed right over the front of my head. No class. and then the other picture.